Welcome back to another episode of Hoot and Poop. So, firstly, I apologize for not being able to produce videos regularly because in the last few days or weeks, my family members are not feeling well, so actually we need to take care of them. So because of that, that explains the lack of video because I really do not have time for filming all this because I wanted to just spend time with them and then take some break and so on. But of course, periodically I will try my very best to produce videos so that I can bring in contents that are relevant to you guys as well. So I understand that the last few months since November, the share price has been plunging. So I just felt that today's video is more of like giving you my thought process for that, trying to talk about some of the companies that I've covered upon, and then just see how it goes for the next few months. All right. So firstly, since November until now, I actually suffered quite a fair bit of losses because my portfolios mainly contains like so-called growth stocks. So some can be kind of in a micro cap area, which means to say that the price swing is really volatile. Generally, I wasn't really that affected by it because when I invest in the company, I actually acknowledge that my time frame, my horizon is actually quite far out. 3 to 4 or 3 to 5 years, it's my horizon. But of course, there will definitely be negative emotions that comes about. For example, I'll ask myself, say, hey, when is this going to fall? When is this going to stop? This can't keep dropping. I do have some options positions, which means to say that if it's a buy call position, I probably would have lose the whole premium that I've paid for the contract if there's no enterprise to recover. I also do have some self-put position, which means to say I may have to I may have to buy the shares because of it. So I was actually pretty much calm for the last 2 to 3 months until January, where I started to feel a bit uneasy because it keeps dropping without any fundamental change to the business itself. The only reason that I can think of in macro terms is more of like the increase in inflation as well as the increase in the effect, or rather the reduction in Fed tapering. So basically that's something that I just don't understand. And of course I do agree that valuations would have ran up quite a fair bit last year. So this is a time for it to correct by itself. Yeah, but other than that, I just don't see any issue with it. So I acknowledge risk. I understand that I acknowledge volatility. I acknowledge risk, but it just doesn't feel good to keep falling. And of course, the reason is that I do not have extra cash to keep purchasing. So because of this, unable to purchase even more, and then you're incurring losses, you feel that man, I should have just hold cash and buy it now and so on. I believe you guys have also heard a lot of people saying that you do not have a crystal ball, you don't know when the rate falls. Yes, we know that, but the problem is that you will naturally, as human, you will feel uneasy here and there. So I'm just trying. So in this video, I'm actually just being very honest with you to let you guys know that even though I have been an investor for quite a few years, I still do face normal uneasy emotions like how you guys face. So it's more of like acknowledging it, and I'm just going to share with you. So in this video, it's more like I'm just going to share with you my thoughts about it. So I don't know when the fall will happen. Will stop. I hope it's sooner rather than later. But what's moving on is more of like I'm just not going to care much in some sense because number one, the money that I use is not something that I needed it at this point in time. Of course, I do agree that the feeling it's not that shock. It's not that it sucks to keep losing money. I've wiped out massive gains, to be honest. But there's nothing much I can do, and I don't think selling now makes any sense at all because if I sell now, then what do I do with the cash? I buy in, it doesn't make sense to me. And even if I sell now and then I guessed it correctly, then next week it will drop even more. Um, that drop that I guessed it correctly would not have been enough to cover my that losses that I've plunged down from the top, or rather from the start. So it just, even if based on this kind of ratio, it just doesn't make sense to me. So that's the thing. Of course, if you guys have spare cash, it's good time to buy. It's good time to be buying some. But for people like me who do not have cash, the only thing, it's more of like just ride it through. Do not care so much. And as a fundamental analysis investor for myself, I always read up with the company news. So my purpose for today, apart from sharing with you my honest thought process on how I look at my portfolio and so on, I want to share with you some news about the companies that I talk about, and then we see, and then give you my thought process to see whether if this resonates with you. If it's so, perhaps I hope this can make you feel better a little bit. Okay, so this is basically what I intend to do. So I'm going to just share my screen to talk about some of the companies that I've covered before. So the first thing is talk about Arkadin. So I'm just not going to draw into too much of the news. All these are just the website that you can find. So basically on the 26th of January, Arkadin, they said that they have been selected by DCMS for 5G project to provide security by default. So if you click on the news, we can see that basically it's this DCMS. So basically this DCMS is correct, a Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sports, and the Future RNA Competition project. So this is so-called one of the customer that on board, or rather that Arkadin collaborates with to provide their quantum cloud to them. Of course, I also covered that Woonhui has joined Arkadin as an advisor. Another one is where on the 18th of January, so Arkadin partners with AU Cloud to deploy Australia's first sovereign quantum encryption service, which is SQS. So this shows that Australia is the third country to come on board. Something like that. Then on the 10th of January, Arkadin to lead UK AU space bridge project. So these are the few latest news to talk about. Of course, in the news, there's nothing much. So for Arkadin, if you think about it, right, is that the share price may be plunging for all we care, but if you look at the business itself, it's still functioning. The move towards quantum computing is independent of whatever share price it may be. The move to quantum computing will happen in 3 to 5 years' time, which is what I've also talked about. And from now until then, I do expect more and more customers to come on board quantum encryption, which Arkadin is one of the key players there. So if you think about it, in 1 month's time, I actually have like 3 news of companies coming on board. So this tells me quite a fair bit of the good news about it, and to me, I feel that it's pretty good. There's no issue with it, even though the share price falls. So that's Arkadin. I also covered about Clearpoint. So Clearpoint, the vice president in marketing, Jacqueline, she actually put so-called one of the posts. She actually said that, hey, look, they're looking for a superstar B2B, business to business downstream marketing manager who will be focusing on exciting bio and drugs delivery business. So looking at that, right, they are rolling out this bio and drugs business. Okay, so-called not only rolling out, but it's more of like they want to create. They want to get in correct people to create an awareness of this biology and drugs delivery. So with that itself, right, means to say they want to grow the business. So even though Clearpoint, the share price currently is around 8+, it's less than $10. But hey, look, they are still hiring, and they're hiring a marketing manager to. And if you think about it, when a company hires a marketing manager, what's the purpose? The purpose is to bring more awareness create more awareness of what Clearpoint is all about, what they can do, what's their capabilities, and then onboard more customers. So that's how I look at it. We talk about I also talk about Upstart, right? Where recently Upstart share price has plunged down from near 400 all the way until less than $100. And I know that in the last 1 to 2 weeks, the plunged even more because there was this thing called the delinquency rates, where they shows like an increasing delinquency rate from Upstart. Means to say the higher the delinquency rate, means to say the more defaults they will happen, and this just shows that Upstart's AI may not be that good as it is. How true is it? I do not know. But if you think about it, okay, this news was on the 26th of January. Cornering Credit Union (CCU), okay, partner with Upstart. Select Upstart for their personal lending, means to say that this CCU taps onto Upstart's AI to channel to sieve out people for their personal lending. So then I asked myself, look, well, the delinquency rates could be a concern, but if it's that of a concern, would banks come on board Upstart? You think about it, right? It's like, for example, if this person keep telling lies, right? Would you tell your secrets to them? It may not be the same, but something similar concept to think about it. Now, I'm not dismissing the delinquency rate. I'm not here to say that won't happen, but it's more like, as an investor, when we look at news, we need to look at both sides, have our own thinking, and of course, my game plan, or rather, my strategy would be to look at the fourth quarter's earnings and to see whether if there's any signs of slowing down or any red flags that we have to take note of. And of course, the last company I talk about is IFAST. Recently it came down to about 6 plus, all right, from a high of $9 plus. So they say that one of it is because Citibank cuts IFAST due to the dilutive M&A and also the possible quarter 4 earnings missed. To me, I personally feel that if you cut, or rather if you downgrade IFAST just because of a possible quarter 4 earnings miss, that is a very, very superficial way of looking at the business itself. Because to me, it's that not all businesses, when they first started, they are earning. Now, when I say when they first started, I'm not saying that IFAST started for 1-2 years. Now, if you understand IFAST, it's that basically in the last 1 month or so, they have actually acquire a bank in UK, which I've also covered before, which is this bank called BFC Bank Limited. Okay, so the reason why they acquired this is because they want to tap on their digital banking technology. So if I think about it this way, is that, hey, look, they are growing. Okay, and therefore, when you grow, you definitely need to sacrifice some things. You can't have best of both worlds or best of all worlds. You need to grow, you need to burn cash, and then yet you still want to have good earnings. It's not possible for any business to have that. It's the same for us. For example, let's say for humans, we want to keep fit. Now, alright, then after that, but then we have family commitments, we have work commitments, and then yet on top of it, we still love to eat. We definitely have to sacrifice one thing. So when I say sacrifice one thing, more sacrifice one thing in the short run. So this is what I mean for IFAST itself. So just by quarter 4 earnings miss, and then you just take profit, you just downgraded IFAST. I think this is a very surface way of looking at it. Dilutive M&A possible, because IFAST raised 75 million of shares, offer with up to 7% discount. Yes, possible, but why so? Like, they are growing, they definitely need cash. This is my thought about the whole thing itself. So if I look at it, of course, if you look at numbers, alright, yes, it doesn't look good for IFAST. But if you look at the fundamentals, you look beyond the numbers, I personally think it's perfectly okay. Because IFAST, they are going in for a digital banking license. But if they don't even have anything, they have to start from scratch. But now, because of their acquisition of the bank in UK, they can tap on their existing technology, learn from it, improve on it. So that's my thinking behind it. And this is why I want to share with you guys, so that all of you know that what's what to do, what to think about as an investor. Okay, so yeah, so that's basically my whole thought process. So moving forward, rather to conclude up this whole video, I don't know when the drop will end. So I'm not going to be bothered too much by it. Definitely I'm not going to sell, that's for sure. I'm just going to hold on, and I'm just going to wait for quarter fours and quarter four earnings to be released, and then I'll start to analyze deeper, and periodically, or rather on a daily basis, I will watch out for any news about the company's fundamentals. And it's not about how people think about the company itself. Look at the news, make my own judgments, and to see whether if there's a need for me to do any adjustment to the portfolio. But having said that, okay, this is a very if there's any interesting news, I will try my very best to share it with you guys here. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's something that's very raw, very live, because I just wanted to give you my honest feeling about this whole drop. So I don't really have any script behind me or whatsoever. So it's pure raw feelings that I have. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please appreciate a like and subscribe to it, and do comment below if there's anything that you want me to talk about, or you can share with me how you feel and stuff. So with that, I'll see you in my next video. Invest safe.